How to create a PBL vision teachers actually support. What if your teachers were excited about school change? What if they didn't just comply with your PBL vision, but actually championed it? If you're leading project-based learning in your school, you already know that no buy-in equals no success. I'm Ryan Stoyer with Magnify Learning, and in this video, I'll show you how to create a PBL vision that your teachers will believe in, build with you, and bring to life. Why do most school visions fail? Well, let's be real. Most school improvement plans sit on a shelf. They're top down, full of buzzwords, and really disconnected from the daily reality in the classroom. Teachers don't resist change because they're lazy. They resist because they've seen it all before. Initiatives that overpromise and underdeliver. When I was teaching 8th grade English at an urban school in Indianapolis, project-based learning came along. And I excitedly went to my mentor, Bruce, and I said, "Hey, Bruce, this PBL thing sounds like it's right up our alley. We can get to connect our standards to real work that give us relationships with our students." That was one of our big deals, was relationships with students. Bruce was big on relationships. He was a great teacher. But I was surprised by Bruce's response to this new mandate, this top-down mandate that we were all going to do PBL. He said, "I'm going to wait this one out." I naively asked, "What do you mean?" Bruce replied that it's just a revolving door of educational ideas, my friend. It will go away soon enough. So if you wait it out, it will go away. Bruce was right. PBL stuck with me, and we created a school within a school. At the middle school level, we had attendance that was 1.5% higher than the rest of the school. With 25% of the kids, we had only 8% of the discipline. And with 25% of those kids, that in an F school, we would have been a B on standardized tests. And Bruce, he did. He waited out that mandate, and your teachers will too if you approach PBL as any other school initiative. So what's different with a well-crafted PBL vision? It doesn't just inform, it inspires. But here's the key. It has to be built with your teachers, not just presented to them. Which leads us to part 2. Start with empathy. Listen first, lead second. So the first step is to listen. Before you ever mention a rubric or a rollout timeline, have conversations with your staff. Just ask them. You could do it in a protocol in a faculty meeting. You could do a chalk talk. You could put it on big pieces of chart paper. What do you wish school looked like? What's something that that really used to light you up about teaching? Why'd you get into this profession? What's one change that would make your learners more engaged? Just get all those ideas out there. The ideas are important, but more important is your teacher's spirits starting to get stirred up. See, in our design days at Magnify Learning, we use protocols to surface hopes and fears. And this starts to change everything, because it's not just the initiative on the page. This is heart work. So when your staff sees that you're not pushing another program, but inviting them into a shared vision, the energy shifts. They lean forward a little bit. They're in. Well, they want to be in. As you continue to show that you're going to keep them involved in the process, they will go with you. So once you listen, take a leadership team that includes innovative teachers. Go see a PBL model school. Let them start to catch the vision, not just hear about it. You may have seen it. You may have led this before, but your leadership team needs to understand this process inside, like in their heart, not just head knowledge. So let this group, your leadership team, go first. We'll talk more about that in part 4 of this video. But part 3 is that you're going to co-create a compelling why statement. Because before you go too much farther, we help schools craft a mission and vision statement. We might call it a why statement, since many vision statements are, on bookshelves and full of buzzwords. So what you want to do now is you want to craft your PBL why statement, and you want to do it together. Don't just give them the vision, help them craft it. Start personally, work towards groups, start to come up with a why for your school. So here's the formula. Root it in student outcomes. What do your teachers want to have students be, say, and do before they leave your school or your district? Speak to teacher values. What do teachers most value in their profession? Just like we don't give kids voice and choice, a lot of times teachers don't have a lot of voice and choice in what's happening. So make it short, make it memorable. Let this vision fit your culture. For example, we do PBL because we want our learners to be problem solvers, not just test takers. If you've done this well, your teachers should hear that and nod because it matches their why. Once you land this vision, it becomes the compass for your decisions, everything from PD to scheduling. All right, quick pause. Do you know another school leader who would like this video? Could you please take 2 minutes and share this video with them? We're on a mission to help 51% of schools start using PBL by 2051. And by sharing this video, you are helping other schools create better learning environments for their learners, just like you are for yours. You'll also start building collaborators. All right, on to part 4. Identify and empower your first followers. Change doesn't need everyone on board at first. You just need a few believers. Identify your first followers, those teachers who are curious, courageous, and willing to try something new. Give them the space and support to implement their PBL units. And when they do, celebrate their wins publicly, in staff meetings, in your newsletters, in shout-outs. When other teachers see PBL working in their hallway, they'll get curious, and they'll see that it's working in their local environment. Most teachers understand there's research around PBL, but they really want to see, does it work in my classroom? And that's legitimate. So the first followers are there to show it works in your school. So as one of our partner principals, Cynthia Bruno, says, she's led this work, and she said, when my team saw I shared their fears and their hopes, they leaned in. You need to get vulnerable with this work. You need to get it at the emotional level to get buy-in. You're looking to gather your innovators, your first followers right now to get traction. If you focus on your late majority and the laggards at this point, you'll become discouraged and you'll begin fighting a losing battle. We're not trying to get late majority yet. The late majority has very different needs than your innovative teachers. So it's okay. Like laggards aren't bad. They're in every environment. It's just different. They just need some different proofs to be ready to jump in. So if you encounter some resistance from the late majority of the laggards, just ask them, what will specifically help them during this process? Listen, remember, listen, make a note, and tell them that you'll look for opportunities to answer their questions as you move forward. Most likely, they're going to want to see it in action in your school. They're going to want to attend an entry event, be a part of an authentic audience. They're going to want to know that planning forms are ready, group contract forms are ready. There's a 6-step process. There's a book study that they can go and lean on, that there's coaching and supports. That's what late majority is looking for so they can step in. They're not really being resistant. They just haven't seen the place where they step into this vision. Part 5, align vision with real support. Vision without support is just a slogan. So back it up with action. Create PD that is teacher-centered. Don't just do sit and get and expect them to provide voice and choice. We need to go first as leaders. This PD, it's got to be customized. It's not one size fits all. So in the notes, we have a free download that will help you revamp your faculty meeting to be more teacher-centered. It shows you that you're going first. It shows your staff that you're going first, and it starts to shift the culture. You need to make time for your teachers. You make time for planning and collaboration. Your PBL leadership team should be made up of you, assistant principals, coaches, those innovative teachers, but they need time to meet. They need time to ask questions. They need time to collaborate. The time is necessary, and it's also empowering. So pay for the extra time before or after school or on a Saturday. Your leadership team is built with innovators and first followers, so they'll do these extra things. And by the way, buy nachos. Nachos help a lot. Then start to align evaluations to growth, not perfection. As you move along in this process, you'll want to shift your teacher evaluations so that you're emphasizing student-centered practices. Now, this may be a year 2 move, but I want to mention it here so that you're thinking about it. Because this is likely maybe the move that gets your late majority and your laggards to jump in. This might be what they're waiting for. Like, are you really going to be serious about this move? And if you have an outdated evaluation form that's really allows traditional teaching to get the most points, if you will, and it's making it harder to do student-centered practices, you are going to find resistance. It might be that structure that is providing resistance in your school culture, and you're not even really aware of it. You haven't seen it. So check that one out. Part 6, make the vision visible and repeated. Now that you've co-created this vision with your staff, repeat it often. Embed it in the hiring process, staff meetings, walk-through feedbacks, classroom celebrations. It all goes around this mission statement you've created. Use learner voice to bring it to life. Ask your learners what PBL means to them and share their answers with your staff. This is early majority, late majority. They want to know, is it working for my learners? And when your team hears learners say, the project made me feel like my work matters, that's the win. All right, so what's your call to action? Do you want to see if your school's ready to get started with PBL? Maybe you're halfway in and you want to say, am I making the right steps? We've got an assessment for that. Go to pblscore.com. At pblscore.com, you answer 15 questions and you get a readiness score. And it's complete with a customized results page specifically for you and your school. Key insights and resources based on your current environment to take you where you want to go. Check out this next video on the essential PBL leadership skills that every principal needs.